Hey guys, thanks for joining the Church Video School channel today. I'm here at South Suburban Christian Church and I'm going to be interviewing from a safe distance one of their worship pastors on staff named Austin. I'm going to be just asking him some questions just to get an inside scoop. What has it been like to go through this crisis as a worship leader, and what's it been like for them to find solutions that work for their church? So hopefully you guys can learn some stuff and apply it to your church at home. So with that said, this is my interview with Austin Rice. Well, Austin, thanks for joining me on the Church Video School YouTube channel today.
Yeah, of course.
So tell me a little bit about your role here at South Suburban Church and how long you've been here and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've been here for about 3 years, and I'm the worship associate as well as the young adult pastor.
Awesome. So you help Sundays, but you're not the main worship leader, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I take care of a lot of the admin stuff during the week.
Okay. And so as far as Sundays go, kind of what's on your plate most of the time?
Yeah, so as far as Sundays go, my main responsibility is leading worship for both the 9 and 10:30 services here at South Suburban, but also making sure that our band and choir is doing okay and making sure that the service as a whole is running smoothly.
Tell me about what happened like earlier in March, right? The official quarantine kind of nationwide started on the 16th, but like the week before, things were starting to escalate. And I'm just curious, I want to get behind the scenes, like what that was like being on staff here and like what happened?
Yeah, so I think it was Friday, March 13th is when we shut our services down for the Sunday, and then we ended up just doing a podcast for Sunday, March 15th. And then the 16th, the day after, on Monday, was when everybody went into quarantine, and we started trying to figure out how in the world do we do church, because up until this point, we haven't done church online at all. And so it was kind of a whirlwind of, it was basically trying to figure out how do we redo church online.
Wow, so you guys hadn't been doing any broadcasting of any kind?
No, not at all. The only broadcasting that we've been doing is uploading our sermons to the cloud.
Okay. So the 15th, you guys decided voluntarily not to do church, even though it wasn't mandated at that point. Were you part of that decision?
I wasn't part of that decision, but I remember getting the email on Friday afternoon and reading that we didn't have church on Sunday, and it was definitely a shock, for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine. Okay, so from there, you guys meet on, do you guys meet Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah,
as
Monday.
a staff?
Yeah,
Monday?
a staff meeting.
Okay, so for those of us who weren't there, set the scene. Like, what was that staff meeting like?
Yeah, so all of us Zoom in to this conference call, our first conference call over Zoom, and we kind of went around the room to talk about how everybody was feeling. And then our senior pastor, looks into the camera and he goes, I don't know what to do, but we got to figure something out, and we got to figure it out fast. And because obviously Sunday doesn't take a break, there's going to be a Sunday in 6 days from Monday. And so immediately our production guy, who we had just hired about a month ago, James Leeper, he started throwing out ideas, because he ended up doing his internship with a larger church. And so he had a little more experience doing the online church platform. And so he started throwing out ideas, and of course we're like, okay, we'll just, we'll roll with it and take your lead on it. And so by that Sunday, we had services up and going at 9 and 10:30, and yeah.
Wow. Okay, so what was your guys' initial plan? How did you make those first couple Sundays happen?
So our initial plan was to come in on Tuesday and record the songs, the sermon, the hosting spot, put it all together, hopefully have it done by Thursday or Friday, and then launch it on Sunday for our services.
Okay, and what platform did you guys choose to use to do that?
Yeah, so we chose to use churchonline.com, and we're also streaming on Facebook.
Okay, great. And do you know what the response was like from the congregation as far as tuning in online?
Yeah, so we have generally our congregation is older people, and so so at first we weren't really sure how it was going to be received, if we were going to get any views really. And so but the first Sunday after we did the pre-recording, the church people responded really well to it, and actually we got a lot of emails from local congregation members saying how much they enjoyed it, and though this current season was kind of a shock and something that they're not used to, that they were all in for it.
So I know that's kind of was plan A for you guys immediately, was to start basically pre-recording from the get-go, it sounds like. And as things have evolved, because as we know, like, it's been, I think, almost a month.
Yeah, just about.
And we still don't know how long we will be doing this. Has anything changed as far as what you guys have been doing? And what have you learned as time's gone on and you kind of been doing this a little bit more?
Yeah, so we're still sticking to our recording days on Tuesdays of recording all of the parts of the services and then putting them together. Something that we didn't see coming was the fact that there are 24 million people logging into church online every Sunday. And so we would try to launch our services at 9 o'clock and at 10:30, and they wouldn't launch, or if they did launch, nobody was able to get on until about 5 minutes after the service started. And so, of course, we're getting a bunch of comments from people saying that they couldn't get the browser to refresh, they couldn't get the services to stream on their computer. And so we ended up having to do a quick video of kind of encouraging people to just be patient, and to continue to refresh your browser, and eventually we're going to get that going. But yeah, this last Sunday was the first Sunday that we didn't have any issues, any glitches with people being able to view the services online.
And you guys have stuck with church online?
We have. Yep.
Okay, so they've kind of. Yeah, that's kind of been floating around the forums, is that they just were not ready for that traffic level, which is understandable.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys have kind of stuck with the plan and you feel like it's kind of settled. Let's dive into the details a little bit as far as service production goes. Obviously, a lot of people are pre-recording services now because it's just way easier to manage than trying to do a live service on a Sunday. But what's your guys been approach as far as worship, because that's kind of your area, and honestly service as a whole? Are you guys embracing that this is different? Or are you trying to be as similar to Sundays as possible? Kind of what's the feel, and then what are the logistics for how you guys actually execute the recordings and the music and stuff like that?
Yeah, so initially we were going to try to stick to the Sunday service as much as possible. And after giving this some more thought, we just realized that we might as well just admit that we're doing church online with a stripped down band, and it's just going to look different. And so we acknowledged that fact, and we kind of went with more of an acoustic set. And so on Sunday mornings, it's going to be just an acoustic guitar, piano, and one vocal mic for right now. That's kind of what we're doing. And so we embraced the whole acoustic set. And then as far as the sermon goes as well, our pastor will typically on a Sunday morning, if this weren't the case, he would be preaching from the pulpit, standing up, addressing everybody. Instead, he's looking into the camera, and he's sitting on a stool, or he might be standing, but he's either leaning on a table or something like that. And so every part of the service is going to be a little bit more of kind of like an acoustic feel, or kind of like the feel that you would have if you did a service at your house.
Yeah. No, that's great. I would imagine that people, I don't know if you've gotten responses about that, but I'd imagine people feel a little bit more connected to that.
Yeah, people. Yeah, we've heard a few comments of people saying that they felt more part of the service as a whole, from start to finish. It felt like church was happening in their house, yeah. And that's I think that's kind of the right feel to go for in this season.
Yeah, that's great. I have been trying to get a bead on what different churches are doing. I think that's an area that there's still a lot of difference in, because I think it's been a long time, and some churches it's never happened where they haven't done Sunday like a certain way, yeah. And it's just hard to break out of that. And I think there's been a little bit of hesitancy to just kind of give in and say like, no, we're gonna just do church the way we've always done church. But I think as time goes on, I think it's better to just embrace the fact that like, hey, we're not gonna pretend. Mm-hmm. We're not doing it. There's no one here. Yeah. The room is empty, right?
Yeah. I remember the Sunday after, everybody went into quarantine. I've got a friend who works at a church back where I'm from. And yeah, that first Sunday afterwards, they tried to do a live stream and they tried to make it look like they were, leading the service for however many people were in the congregation. And it just, I remember watching it and just kind of feeling a little awkward because everybody knows that there's nobody there. And so I remember feeling a little awkward and trying to realize that, yeah, like there's just, it doesn't make sense to pretend that there's people there.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's just weird. I'm sure it feels a little bit weird to just kind of admit like, hey, we're kind of faking this.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, it's like this is the only way to reach people right now. Is to just be like, hey, I'm basically doing TV church right now. The camera is everybody. I need to talk to the camera. I need to acknowledge the camera, right? And I think that's probably been a bit of an adjustment, but.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody's roles on staff have shifted to something that they didn't sign up for, or it's not under their list of responsibilities when they first got the job. But I think that's necessary when you go through a pandemic, something that's never happened before, and especially when you're a church that's never live streamed before or pre-recorded. It's necessary for everybody to kind of shift roles and do what they can to get the Sundays ready to go and to take care of people throughout the week, even though you can't see them.
I know that you don't have the answer for this, but I'm curious, what are your thoughts now? When church services resume in person, what do you think is going to be a lasting effect of this here at South Suburban?
Yeah, I think our first Sunday back, it might not be everybody in the sanctuary at the same time, but I think the first Sunday back, everybody's just going to look around and realize how thankful they are to be shoulder to shoulder and possibly still 6 feet apart. But in a sense, to be around people again and to worship in the same area with fellow believers or non-believers alike. I think the atmosphere is going to shift in the church in the coming weeks when we're able to get back to doing church semi-normal.
Yeah, for sure. You guys at this church take communion every week, right? As part of regular service. What has that translated at all into remote online services, or has that just been put aside?
Yeah, so Pastor Ike, our senior pastor, is still doing a presentation of the communion elements. He's still praying over the communion elements and encouraging everybody to partake in them, whether it be a piece of bread that they find at home and a cup of, orange juice or anything else, just to try to still be able to take communion.
Yeah, that's fascinating. But I mean, I think it's probably good to still encourage people to, partake of those elements, even if they're not official. And you guys aren't Catholic, so it's not, transubstantiated bread, right? So it's really just a symbolic act. But yeah, it's just a crazy experience, man.
Oh, I know.
Let's. As we wrap, I just want to talk a little bit about gear and technique a little bit. So you guys, how many cameras are you guys working with here?
Yeah, so we've got 3 cameras that we're working with. Our production manager, James Leeper, has a GoPro. He's using one of his personal cameras, and then we've got a camera that the church owns. Okay,
and so you guys have been using a multicam setup. Have you been using all 3 during worship as well as during the message?
Yeah, we've been trying to. And so basically, we'll have 2 stationary cameras, and then James will be walking around with the 3rd camera, trying to get different shots and angles and try to make it look a little more live. So something else that we're trying to do during the sermon and the worship sets is trying to cut to more angles to keep people's engagement at a higher level. Sometimes I know when a shot is static for 20 minutes, it can be kind of easy to lose focus. And so we're trying to change the angles every few minutes. And so that's part of the reason that we have multiple cameras.
Yeah. Have you been doing, for the message, have you had camera operators and had your pastor talk to different cameras, or is he talking to one camera the whole time and you guys just cut to just a static side shot?
Yeah, up until this point, the pastor has just been talking to one camera, and then we're just doing side shots of him still looking at the same camera. I think in the future, our goal is to try to get him to look at whatever camera that we're cutting to. That might take a little bit of practice, but I think it's a good goal to try.
And as far as music goes, are you guys recording into and out of your sound console to do multi-track?
Yeah, we've started, actually just as of this last week, we've started recording every instrument into its own track, and then we're sending it off to our sound guy to put the final edits and touches on it, and then he sends it back, and James kind of pairs it up with the video so that we get better audio quality.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's good. So you guys aren't just putting a mic on a camera and just getting that
no,
straight.
Yeah, no.
Nice. That's good. That obviously sounds 100 times better. So that's awesome. You guys were able to do that, and your sound guy is able to do that from home. Well, Austin, thanks, man, for giving us a sneak peek into kind of the crisis snapshot here, the quarantine snapshot of South Suburban. Any other thoughts kind of about that you wanted to say I didn't ask about, just kind of how this has affected you or affected the church, or what your thoughts are going forward?
Yeah, I think my thoughts going forward, I say to any other church, just keep hanging in there and do the best you can with what you've got. And, we're going to get through this. And like I said previous, I think it's going to be a huge relief. And I think the worship atmosphere is going to change when we're all able to meet together. And so this whole kind of self-quarantine thing looks to be like, it looks to be like, a hindrance. But I actually think in the coming months, it's going to be great for future churches.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks again, Austin. And by the way, you had a major life event a couple of weeks ago. Is that right?
I did, yes. I got married 17 days ago.
Right. Yeah, crazy time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, dude, so stoked for you. Congrats on that.
Thanks, man.
And thanks for taking the time today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.